book friends, I'm Arri and you are watching Books and Tea Time, and in this video we are going to be talking about my Blackathon 2022 TBR. I'm so excited. I am literally over the moon. I am lit. I'm excited. I am energized by these prompts, by the books that I picked, by the challenges, by everything about it. I'm so pumped. As you can see, I have some dramatic green eyeshadow on today, and that is because I wanted to kind of elevate my look, my aesthetic, my vibe for this video to the high standards that Jessie sets on their channel, because Jessie of Bow Ties and Books, of course, is the creator and one of the main hosts for Blackathon, and specifically the host for the mystery thriller horror team. Blackathon, what is it? What's it all about? If you don't know, it is a month-long readathon in February that is dedicated to celebrating, reading, shouting about from the rooftops, and sharing our thoughts, reviews, etc. All of that jazz of books with Black characters written by Black authors. And this is my second February Blackathon, but my fourth overall Blackathon, I think. Yeah, I've done 2 queer Blackathons which take place in June, so this is my second like month-long challenge video. I have 2 vlogs and my TBR video from last year that are going to be linked in the description box if you want to see last year's stuff. I loved it. I had so much fun, and this year is going to be even better because 1, I'm not in school, so I can go all out. I'm not going to get caught slacking on the challenges. I am going to just dive head first. I've got a whole TBR planned, and we're going to read across a variety of media forms. So I'm going to read physical books, ebooks, and do some audio listening so that I can really make it as like easy as I can to get as much reading done during the month. So if I'm doing something, I can be listening to a book, and if I have some downtime, I can be physically reading and annotating, and when I'm at work, I can bring my e-reader and read books that way. So really just maximizing my reading. I just want to read as many books as I can because I have so many books on this list. So yeah, Blackathon is created and hosted by Jessie of Bow Ties and Books. If you've watched any of my videos before, you probably know who Jessie is, because at this point I am just like, my channel is just a fan channel for Jessie's channel. Literally, I never shut up about them, and I never will because they're amazing. So I will obviously have Jessie's video linked in the description, as they are going to have the most information and knowledge about the readathon. And in the description box of Jessie's video, there is a Google Docs link with all of this information laid out really nice and simple for you, and also a link to another Google Doc with a bunch of book recommendations, so that if you're having some trouble with thinking of things for your TBR, or you need some suggestions, you can check out that Google Doc. I have my laptop here because I made an entire OneNote, oh, hello ring light. I have an entire OneNote document page dedicated to my TBR and my challenge planning, and also I have the Google Doc up here so that I can read from it. I am again going to be returning to Team Science Fiction Fantasy because it's my brand at this point. I will say I was tempted to join the romance team. The romance team is brand new this year, but the teams are science fiction, fantasy, thriller, horror, mystery, literature, contemporary and nonfiction, and romance. So those are the 4 teams that you can participate in. So each team has 4 prompts, one of which is a group book, and the rest of them are just like different kinds of prompts focusing on diversity, whimsical, wacky prompts, and also prompts about duality, because duality is the theme for this year's Blackathon. So very quickly, I am going to just run through some of the stuff on this document. Actually, let's record my screen so you guys can see. Okay, you should be able to see my screen right now, my little mouse. So this is the Blackathon schedule, and so there are I think 3 or 4 ways to participate. Mainly you can participate on YouTube, you can participate on Instagram, or you can participate just by reading books by Black authors during the month of February. So I am going to be doing the YouTube challenges just like I did last year. So I am going to be doing and fulfilling the 4 prompts for my team. I'm also going to be vlogging and participating in the week-long challenge, which takes place from February 7th to February 13th. And so for 7 days, there are each day a different challenge that you have to do. So I am going to be participating in those and vlogging that experience. I'm gonna try to participate in the 24-hour readathon. I do have to work one of the days though, so I don't know if that's really gonna work out. And then I'm also going to do the Instagram challenges over on my Instagram, Books and Tea Time, if you want to follow me there. I did that last year too, and I loved it. It's so much fun. I love recreating makeup looks and outfits, so that's one of the things again this year, and I'm so excited for the thing that I have planned to do. I think you guys are really gonna like it. You can see that there's gonna be Netflix parties, there's gonna be hashtags and stuff that you can use, and also at the very bottom is a list of all of the hosts. So there's YouTube hosts for each team, and there are Instagram hosts for each team. If you are joining the sci-fi fantasy team with me, aka the winning team, wink wink, we have the amazing, stunning, wonderful Starla of Starla Enjoys, who I also am obsessed with and talk about all the time. They're going to be the host for YouTube SFF team, and I can't wait. And then if you're on Instagram or participating on Instagram too, then our SFF host is Arri from boriqueerreads. All right, I am going to stop rambling now, and we're going to get into the meat of this video, which is the TBR, right? Okay, so we're going to start with the 4 books that I am committed to starting and finishing in the month, and those are the 4 books that I'm going to be reading for the SFF team prompts. So I need to get these done so I can count my pages to help my team win and be successful. So it is a little bit ambitious, I will say. The very first prompt for science fiction fantasy is to read a book that explores the duality of loyalty and betrayal. And for this prompt, I am going to be reading Son of the Storm by Sunyi Davies Okungbawa. I'm so excited for this book because it was in Jesse's top 10 books of the year for 2021 video, and I was already excited for it, and then I was thinking about this book's synopsis, and I feel like it really fits well with this prompt. This is an adult fantasy story. I'm just gonna read you this paragraph real quick, then we'll talk a little more. From city streets where secrets are bartered for gold to forests teeming with fabled beasts, a sweeping epic of forgotten magic and violent conquests unfolds in this richly drawn fantasy inspired by the pre-colonial empires of West Africa. In this world, there is no destiny, but the one you make. First of all, I love the idea of forgotten magic. I really love that trope, or just like magic and like discovering magic, whether it's new magic or ancient magic, and like bringing that magic back. I really love that. I love magical creatures. Anyway, in this we are following our main character, Danso, who is a scholar, but he has this secret desire to be researching and chasing these forbidden stories about what lies outside the walls of his city. And so I think that this is good for the prompt because he is like coming across these secrets and this new warrior magic, and he's at war with himself, I think, a little bit, or like it seems like he might be, because there's like his role in the empire and protecting and preserving his home, but also being really drawn to these new magics and this new and all these secrets, and following these secrets, and then like discovering all this stuff. So I think that it fits the prompt pretty well. It is 480 pages according to Storygraph, so it's a chunky monkey. Also, I forgot to say that I am going to be reading Son of the Storm in the physical so I can annotate it, but I ordered it from Bookshop, so it's not quite here yet, but I am confident that it will be here in time for the beginning of the month of February, because today is like January 21st or something. The second prompt for the science fiction fantasy team is to read a book with trans spectrum representation, and for this one I am going to be reading The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I'm dying to read this book. I feel like I've heard people say that there are trans characters in this book, or characters on the trans spectrum, and when I looked it up, just a preliminary Google search, I did see that there are characters in this book, but I don't know if they're like side characters that only appear for a few pages, or if they're like main characters in the book, so please correct me down below if there isn't much trans representation, and I will switch to my backup option, which is Pet by Kweke Emezi, which is, I believe, a middle grade about a child who brings a monster from a painting to life, I think. I don't really know a lot about it. All I know is that it's by Kweke Emezi, so I'm gonna read it. But I will be starting the 5th season at the very least, because it's a book that I really want to read, and it's a fantasy book. So let me know down below if you've read this book, if there is trans spectrum representation. But I want to make sure that I'm not getting it confused with one of her other trilogies, The 100,000 Kingdoms. I'll kind of just get a feel for it, and we'll see what's going on, and if like by the halfway point it is lacking in the trans representation area, we'll switch over to Pet by Kweke Emezi. So that's the plan right now. I'm very excited to be reading this. Obviously, I'm going to be reading it in the physical and annotating it. From what I understand, this book is kind of like about elemental magic system, or like something along those lines, where the power of the earth, or the ability to control the earth and create natural disasters and catastrophes and like these world-ending events, is a power that can be harnessed by certain people. And I believe those people are hunted because of that ability that they have. Whether or not they can control it, I'm not sure. But I do know that this is a world, and set in a world where the end of the world comes about often, but the tagline for the book is that this is the way the world ends for the last time. So it's kind of about the last end-all be-all cataclysmic natural disaster event. I'm very intrigued by the idea of like natural disaster and elemental like earth-based magic. I also believe this is multi-POV. I have all the faith that this book's gonna be amazing. I really don't think it's gonna let me down, so I'm excited to give it a read finally. The 3rd prompt is to read a book between 312 and 387 pages. Now, this one I was really struggling with, okay? I was flipping through all my books and they were all way too long or way too short, until the fates aligned and I found a book that is exactly 387 pages. The book that I'm talking about is No Gods, No Monsters by Cadwell Turnbull. I need to read this book. I've had it out from the library for way longer than I should, but I mean, it keeps automatically renewing, so like it's not late, but I need to read it. This was one of my most anticipated releases of 2021. I think it came out like at the very end of the year. So here's the origin story with this book and my appreciation for Cadwell Turnbull's writing, okay? Last year, the group book for the science fiction fantasy team was The Lesson by Cadwell Turnbull, and I loved this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. So when I saw that Turnbull was coming out with another book, I immediately put it on my TBR, because I was like, he's an auto by author for me now. And then I read the synopsis. And if you know me, you know I am obsessed with mythology of all pantheons, all types, the gods in the real world trope, deities in the real world interacting with other beings is a trope I'm obsessed with. Let me read you the synopsis, okay? One October morning, Lena gets the news that her brother has been shot and killed by Boston cops. But what looks like a case of police brutality soon reveals something much stranger. Monsters are real, and they want everyone to know it. As creatures from myth and legend come out of the shadows seeking safety through visibility, their emergence sets off a chain of seemingly unrelated events. Members of local werewolf packs are threatened into silence. A professor follows a missing friend's trail of breadcrumbs to a mysterious secret society, and a young boy with unique abilities seeks refuge in a pro-monster organization with secrets of its own. Meanwhile, more people start disappearing, suicides and hate crimes increase, and protests erupt globally, both for and against the monsters. At the center is a mystery no one thinks to ask. Why now? What has frightened the monsters out of the dark? The world will soon find out. Literally every moving part of that synopsis, even though it's a lot, every single detail had a buzzword for me, was interesting, intriguing, and I know that I like Turnbull's writing already, so I am over the moon, and it is destiny that this book is the exact number of pages I need it to be. It's destiny. This might be the first book that I read, actually. Then, finally, last but not least, the group book is Escaping Exodus by Nikki Drayden. I'm obsessed with this cover. It's one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen. This book is about a young woman named Seske, and she is the heir to this biological city-sized starship. So from what I understand, the plot or the premise of this book is that we have a space-faring group of people, this like civilization that puts themselves in like cryogenic sleep or like stasis, and then it seems like maybe like a select few people, they infiltrate these massive space creatures, like these living beings that are super big that like fly around space, right? And it seems like they infiltrate them and then they turn their bodies into spaceships, like from the inside. They harvest their materials and make it so that like people can live inside of these ships. And then whenever the ship kind of starts to break down, it seems like they go back into sleep, and then until they get another ship. And then the last sentence of the synopsis is, and of course there wouldn't be much of a story if things didn't go terribly, terribly wrong. So, I mean, this whole idea of like ships and living inside of these massive creatures that are like native to space is fascinating. I'm so intrigued by that, but also that last line of like everything going wrong. I'm really, really excited. This is said to have queer representation, and there are some trigger warnings that Jessie put on the group book for body horror, violence, slavery, and death. So just a shout out, heads up about that. I am going to be reading the ebook for that one. Those are the 4 books that I'm committed to reading. However, I want to be extra because why not? And I'm going to challenge myself. I don't know how this is going to pan out, okay? This could be a huge flop, a huge failure. So don't come at me if the rest of this TBR ends up not getting read, because it's quite possible. But I was thinking it might be fun to read an additional 3 books, one that like matches a little bit of the other 3 teams. So like I won't be able to count the pages because it's not for the same genre, but I thought it would be kind of fun, and it would be a little bit of an experiment, and also I would get to read across a variety of genres. So if I'm feeling a little bogged down by the fantasy, I can take a few days break and read one of these books instead. So we'll see how that works out. But anyway, for the literary fiction, contemporary, nonfiction team, I have 2 books here, both of which I'm just going to quickly shout out because I don't know if I'm going to read both, if I'm going to even get to either of them, if maybe I'll just read one. First, I have Read This to Get Smarter About Race, Class, Gender, Disability, and More by Blair Imani. Blair Imani is an educator and historian. I follow her on Instagram, and she does this series called Smarter in Seconds, which is a series of reels that give you a very quick like 30-second snippet on a specific topic, and she turned that lecture series, that reel series, into a book, and it's only like 170, 180 pages. I do really think it's going to be a wonderful, informative reading experience. As I'm flipping through right now, I'm seeing that there are reflection questions. Even if I don't finish it, maybe just starting it this month will be really fun. I also have a memoir, The Dragons, the Giant, the Women by YA2 Moore. I am kind of really in the mood for a memoir right now. I don't know why. I think I've seen a lot of other people talking about memoirs on YouTube and like some videos that I've been watching, and this one is pretty short. It's like 230 pages or so, and this is about, it says, is a lush lyrical chronicle of Moore's harrowing escape from war, her years adjusting to life in Texas as a Black woman and an immigrant, and her eventual return to Liberia. And it would be nice to read something that's not entirely set in the United States, and to be reading authors that are not native to the United States, you know? For the thriller horror team, okay, I don't read a lot of thrillers, like ever, okay? I've maybe read like a handful in my life. And so I was thinking about a book that I would be intrigued by, you know, something that I know that I'll be able to devour, that I'll really like. And so I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna read the ebook for Ace of Spades, because I've heard incredible things about this book. And I know that it is like a very tense mystery thriller, and it's set at a boarding school, and it's kind of got Gossip Girl vibes. This anonymous student at the school is threatening to share personal information about the 2 Black students that attend the school and threaten their position at the school and in their personal lives at home, and just threaten to make their lives miserable, essentially. And so they, I believe, kind of like come together to fight back against this anonymous person. And everybody who reads this says that it is a must read. And so even though I don't read a lot of mystery thriller, I do think that this is probably the best pick that I could choose. So I'm gonna be trying the ebook for this. It's like really getting out of my comfort zone for me, but that's kind of the purpose of this like extra challenge that I'm giving myself, of trying to read some other genres, is to get out of my comfort zone and also still be reading Black authors in a variety of genres, you know, you feel me? And then last but not least, I'm very intrigued by the romance group book as well. We're going to be listening to the audio for The Sweetest Remedy by Jane Igharo, and this is about a young woman who travels back to Nigeria to attend the funeral of the fathers that she never really had a good relationship with or didn't really know very well. And when she gets there, she meets this very elaborate, over-the-top family, and she discovers a new love interest and starts connecting with a part of herself that she wasn't really aware was there. And so it's kind of a romance, kind of a found family, kind of a self-discovery, self-personal growth kind of a story, and all of those things sound really cool. The cover's awesome, and I've heard good things about it, and it's a group book, so I thought that I would read it. And I have been reading a lot more romance, so I'm not as intimidated by this, and I think it'll be nice to have that audiobook to listen to throughout the month. That's the end of this TBR, because if we stay here any longer, I'm just going to keep adding books that I'm inevitably never going to be able to read, because February is a short month, okay? Check out the description box for links to Jesse's announcement video and the Google Doc and the creators that I mentioned and all of the hosts. Make sure to check them out on YouTube and or Instagram. If you aren't already participating in Blackathon, definitely check it out and plan a TBR. You know, you could just do one book. You can double up on prompts. Jesse is very like awesome and chill in their video about like, if you just read one book by a Black author, that counts to them as participation, and I totally agree with that. I'm excited for the challenges and all the fun things that we're gonna do on Instagram and YouTube for that week. So yeah, stay tuned for my vlogs, for my science fiction and fantasy books by Black authors recommendation video, which will be coming soon. Thank you so much for watching this video, and a special thank you and shout out to Jesse for creating this amazing, super fun readathon. I can't wait to participate again. Y'all are the best. Thank you all for watching this video, for coming to my channel. It means the world to me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if that's your jam, and I hope to see you in my next video. Happy reading, happy writing, and happy living. Peace out.